Level 1, the kid who ain't proved nothing yet. You are 13 years old, and your father just clowned you in front of the whole court. Didn't hit you, didn't yell, just turned his back mid-sentence to talk to one of his generals. Like you weren't even there, like you were furniture. You stood there with your mouth open, and every single person in that room looked away because watching a prince get curved like that is too awkward to hold eye contact with. Your name is Alexander. Your pops is Philip II of Macedon. One eye, built like a linebacker, never lost a war in his life. When he walks into a room, the whole vibe shifts. People don't love him. They fear him. And fear, you're starting to realize, is worth a whole lot more than love in this business. Nobody looks at you like that, not yet. Your mom, Olympias, pulls you aside that night and gets dead serious. She leans in close and tells you Philip ain't your real father, that Zeus himself put something in your bloodline, that you are built different at a level nobody in that court can even comprehend. You don't fully buy it, but you don't dismiss it either, because something in your chest burns too hot to be normal. You've always felt it, that low constant heat that doesn't have a name yet. Aristotle shows up and starts putting you on game: philosophy, medicine, how to argue, how to think 3 moves ahead. You soak up everything. You sleep with Homer's Iliad under your pillow and a dagger next to that. You are 13 years old and you are already preparing for something you can't explain. Then they bring out Bucephalus, massive black horse, completely unhinged. Every grown man in that courtyard tries to ride it and gets bucked off hard. The horse is going crazy, screaming, tearing up the ground. You just watch it for a second. You notice the horse is spooked by its own shadow. You turn it toward the sun and hop on clean. Your father watches you ride it across the courtyard without flinching. His one good eye gets wet. He says, Macedonia is too small for you. First time in your life, the room looks at you the way it looks at him. You tuck that feeling somewhere you'll never lose it. Level 2, first blood. You are 16, and your pops bounces north on campaign and leaves you running Macedon. Not as a title. For real, you're signing orders, settling disputes, making calls. Then a tribe up north revolts because they figure a teenage regent won't do nothing about it. You raise an army and wipe them out in 2 weeks. You rename their city Alexandroupolis, your name, on a whole city, just at 16. When Philip gets back, he doesn't throw you a party, doesn't make a speech, he nods once. You've learned to measure everything in your father's nods. One nod from Philip II hits different than a standing ovation from literally anyone else on earth. 2 years later, you fight at Chaeronea. You're 18. Philip puts you on the left flank. Across the field is the sacred band of Thebes. 300 soldiers who have never been broken ever, bonded pairs who fight like men, who flat out refuse to outlive each other. You study them for maybe 30 seconds, then you charge. When it's over 254 of the 300 are dead right where they stood, not one of them bounced. You walk through that field and look at what you just did. Something shifts inside you. A door closes. Another one opens. You're not sure yet what room you just walked into. You don't talk about the feeling. First rule, you carry it and you keep it moving. Philip gets assassinated at a wedding 2 years later. Killer gets dropped immediately. You are 20 years old and you are king of Macedon before your father's body hits the floor. Some people think you set it up. You let them think whatever they want. Level 3, send the message loud. First thing you do as king is clean house. Every dude with a bloodline claimed to your throne is a future problem. You handle them quietly. Your advisors got softer words for it. You don't need softer words. You know exactly what's happening and you sign off without losing sleep. Then Thebes catches a rumor that you got killed up north and they start wilding out in the streets, celebrating like it's already over. You march 300 miles in 14 days. You pull up to their gates before they even finish the party. You level the whole city, 30,000 people enslaved. Every building knocked down except the temples and the house of the poet Pindar, because you actually read Pindar, and because leaving one house standing makes the message hit harder. Every single Greek city-state gets the message at the same time. Nobody tries you again. Here's what you figured out. Power isn't about going crazy on people. Going crazy is just the exclamation point. Real power is about belief. You need every single person in every single room to believe in their gut that you will do exactly what you said. Once they believe that, you barely ever have to do anything again. You look east anyway. Persia is sitting across the Aegean like an old unsettled debt. Xerxes burned Athens 150 years ago. Every Greek kid grew up on that story. You grew up on it different. Not as a wound, as a destination. You cross into Asia with 37,000 soldiers. Level 4, the general who goes first. Your top commander tells you the crossing is suicide. Persian cavalry is lined up on the far bank of the Granicus River. Parmenion says, wait, chill, let the situation develop. You hear him out completely, then you ride into the river. Your generals fall in behind you because once you move, there's no other option. That's the thing you've learned about being in charge. charge. Hesitation is contagious, and so is confidence. You've chosen confidence as your default setting. It's not even an act anymore. It's just who you are. Halfway across, a Persian spear cracks your helmet. Some nobleman comes at your skull with an axe. Clytus, your day one, your ride or die, kills the man mid-swing. You register this on the other bank, blood dripping down your face. Watching your cavalry run the Persians into the ground, Clytus just saved your life. You clock it. You keep moving city by city across Asia Minor. Some fold before you even arrive. Some need to be taken by force. You take them all. Then comes Isis. Darius III pulls up with somewhere between 100,000 and 600,000 soldiers, depending on whose numbers you believe. You've got 40,000, but the terrain is a narrow coastal strip, and you read it before he does. You charge straight at Darius himself. He dips, leaves everything behind: his chariot, his weapons, his mother, his wife, his daughters, his whole treasury just bounces. You capture his family and treat them with complete respect, not because you're soft, because you're smart. You're showing the Persian nobility exactly what kind of king you are. You're 22. You haven't slept more than 5 hours in 4 days. Your shoulder is still banged up from Granicus. You don't think about being tired. You think about Egypt. Level 5, the god who knows it's a play. Egypt rolls out the welcome mat and the priests of Amun crown you pharaoh, son of Ra, living Horus, divine king. You take every title without blinking. Your Macedonian boys are low-key uncomfortable. They're Greeks. Greeks believe that man is just a man. You understand something they haven't caught up to yet. Divinity is just branding. If Egypt needs you to be a god to go all in behind you, then playing the god role costs you 0 and gets you everything. You build Alexandria on the coast. You personally walk the city limits, throwing grain to mark the streets because you ran out of chalk. You lay out the harbor, the lighthouse, the library. You will never actually live there. You know that the whole time you're doing it, you're building for a timeline that extends past your own life. You make the trek out to the Oracle of Siwa, 8 days through open desert. You go in alone, you come out, and you don't tell a single soul what was said. You send your mom a letter saying you got an answer that satisfied you and that you'll explain it when you see her. You never explain it to anyone. But after Siwa, something changes. You move quieter, more locked in, like the question that's been running in the background your whole life finally got answered, and now you're just executing. Darius hits you with a peace offer, half his empire, his daughter, 10,000 talents of gold. Your general Parmenion says he'd take that deal if he were Alexander. You look at him and say, yeah, so would I if I were Parmenion. You march east. Level 6, the king who starts moving different Gaugamela, 331 BC. Darius did his homework after Issus. He picked flat open ground specifically to take away your terrain game. He's got scythed chariots, war elephants, cavalry that outnumbers you 4 to 1. His engineers literally leveled the battlefield. You find the gap anyway. There's always a gap. That's the only real secret. You find it before they do, and you're through it before they process what just happened. You charge straight at Darius for the second time. He runs for the second time. The Persian Empire is done. You walk into Persepolis at 25 years old, and there is no word in any language for what you just pulled off because nobody has ever done it before. You burn Persepolis down. The Greeks want their revenge for Athens. You need it to feel closed, case shut, move on. Then you start rocking Persian fits. Your Macedonian crew doesn't say it to your face. They say it sideways, in banquets, in letters back home. You start requiring a deep bow from everyone who comes into your presence. Your oldest guys refuse. Callisthenes, Aristotle's nephew, your court historian, checks you publicly on philosophical grounds. Full speech in front of everyone. You don't touch him right away. A year later, he gets tied to a conspiracy and dies in a cell. You don't bring it up. Here's what you figured out at this level. You cannot get checked publicly, not because of ego, because authority is a group project. The moment enough people watch someone clown the king and nothing happens, the whole thing starts falling apart. You cannot let it fall apart. You're not just a king anymore. You're an institution, and institutions don't tolerate cracks. Level 7, the spear. You can't take back India, 326 BC. Your guys sit down. Not a mutiny, something quieter and honestly worse. 8 years of marching, deserts, mountain passes, rivers that don't have Greek names, enemies who showed up with war elephants. They've buried their boys in dirt their families back home will never be able to find on any map. At the Hyphasis River, furthest east east any Greek army has ever been. They just stop moving. You go to your tent for 3 days. This is the thing nobody tells you about being at the top. There's a human floor. You can conquer every country in every direction, rewrite what a god looks like, make kings run for their lives, and then 40,000 tired soldiers can just sit down, and that is where the map ends. That's it. You come out and announce you're heading back west. You spin it like it's your call. It is and it isn't. But you don't go home. You sail down the Indus, fighting the whole way down, storming a city. You go over the wall first because you literally cannot stop going first. You catch an arrow through your lung. Your boys think you're dead and go absolutely berserk on the city. You make it. Barely. Something locks up after the arrow. Less patience, less room for anyone who hasn't been through what you've been through, more drinks at every banquet. And then one night, Clytus, your day one, the man who saved your life at Granicus, gets too drunk and says too much. He says you forgot where you came from, that you think you're actually a god, that you disrespected Philip's whole legacy. You put a spear through him. You realize it the second it leaves your hand. You try to turn the spear on yourself. Your guards physically grab you. You lock yourself in your room for 3 days, and every historical record ever written agrees it was real grief, not performance, not politics, real. When you come out, nobody says a word about it. You killed your best friend, the man who saved your life, at a dinner table with your own hands. You are 30 years old, the most powerful man on the planet, and you have never felt more alone in your life. Level 8, the clock runs out. Babylon, 323 BC. You're mapping out the conquest of Arabia. After that, Carthage. After that, maybe Rome. These aren't fantasies. Your engineers are drawing harbor schematics. Your admirals are running supply route numbers right now. But something is off with your body. You don't say it out loud. You've been drinking heavy since India. That lung wound never fully closed right. You have been running full speed for 12 years straight, and the human body has a limit that not even Alexander the Great gets to ignore forever. At a banquet at your admiral's spot, you drink through the whole night. 2 days later, the fever starts, the kind that doesn't break. You're laid out in your chambers, and your soldiers file past in silence because they can see what's happening, and they need to see it with their own eyes to believe it's real. You nod at each of them. You don't ask for anything. Your generals crowd around your bed asking who gets the empire, who's the king after you. You say to the strongest, or you say nothing at all. The history books can't agree. Honestly, both feel right. You are 32 years old. You control Egypt, Persia, Central Asia, the edge of India, built it all in 11 years, never lost a battle, not once. You left no succession plan, named no heir, built no institution that could run without you. Maybe you genuinely thought you wouldn't die. Maybe you were moving too fast to stop and think about it. Maybe somewhere deep down you knew the empire was you, and without you it was just territory. You were right about that. Within 20 years, your generals chop it into warring pieces. Within a century, the whole thing is unrecognizable. But Alexandria is still standing. The trade routes, the libraries, the whole fusion of Greek and Eastern culture you forced into existence rewires the world for the next 1,000 years. Rome builds their whole empire off your blueprint. Christianity spreads through the Greek-speaking networks you created. The common language those networks run on exists because you marched an army to the edge of the map and didn't stop until your body gave out on you. The fever doesn't break. The most powerful man in the world dies in somebody else's palace in a city that isn't even his capital. Far from Macedonia, far from his mom, no clear air, no last words the history books can fully agree on. The room goes quiet. Somewhere in Pella, a kid is watching soldiers march down the street. He's heard the stories about a king who rode to the ends of the earth. He believes every word. He's already got a plan. He has no idea what it's going to cost him, but he will.